What would you do? My F30 partner of 8 years, M44? Lied about his real age by a lot. What would you do? My F30 partner of 8 years, M44? Lied about his real age by a lot. This is crazy. I currently can't sleep because of all this. Back in 2016 I met and fell in love with a guy, I'll call him Max. Max and I hit it off immediately and our relationship started very quickly. I was 21, almost 22 at the time. In the first week or two of seeing him, I asked how old Max was. He's the kind of person who looked like he could be literally any age. It was hard to tell, which is why I asked. He avoided the question at first and then asked me, how old do I look? I guessed somewhere around 28-30-ish. He smiled and said yes, that was right. I pushed for the exact age and he admitted he was actually 36. He asked me if that was okay with me. My age gap allowance had been 7-10 years, a 15-year age gap was confronting. But I really liked him and we got along really great, so I told him it was okay for me, though that would be the maximum age gap I'm comfortable with. We went on to be in a long-term loving relationship for 7-ish years. Currently, 2024, we are now going through a very long, drawn-out heartbreaking breakup. It's complicated, I don't have time to get into all the details here. He thinks I don't express my emotions well and I think he's manipulative and simply doesn't like it when I ever have a negative emotion. We have to remain living together for now, separate bedrooms and bathrooms. About a week ago, he left to go on a much-needed trip, and I've been loving having the house to myself. But today I stumbled upon the truth. I'm not going to get into how I came upon it, but it was by accident. I came upon his birth date written on an official document. He had always been super secretive of official documents and made sure I never really saw them. Y'all, the way my jaw hit the floor when I read his birth year, 1970. He is literally 24 years older than me. He is older than my freaking mother. I literally am flabbergasted. I feel so. OMG, I don't even know, I feel disgusting honestly. I feel violated. This man lied to me just to get me and then continued to lie, like was he just never going to tell me? He wasn't 36 when he met me, he was 46. And I was 22 barely out of home. I'm questioning reality right now, like what other secrets have I missed? Did he have a family? Is he a criminal? Like what the heck? I feel totally blindsided and disillusioned. Like I'm living in the Truman Show or something crazy. I feel like this can't possibly be real, but it is. I'll start looking at housing alternatives, I really just want to kick him out. I've emailed my therapist already, so don't worry. I'm going to wait until he's back home to confront him about it. How would you confront him? Has anyone else been in this situation before? What did you do? And what happened when you confronted them? I'll update in a few weeks. Edit. He is currently 54, whereas I thought he was 44, and he was 46 when we met. Sorry if it's confusing. Edit. For some reason I can't comment or reply to comments. Don't confront, just pack up and leave. When you're safely out, text him that you know his real age and you never want him to contact you again and block him. Let your employer know what is going on in case he shows up at work. Honestly, to answer your question, I would not confront him. The relationship is over. You have nothing to gain from this. He might become dangerous as you said. Who is he really? If he went through 8 years of lying about this, it might be because he is hiding way more. Tell people you trust about this as a backup. Leave as soon as you can. Above all, stay safe. I wouldn't say anything until his next birthday and simply text him, Happy 55th birthday XO. It sounds like you are already in the process of breaking up. Just let it be, wash your hands of it, and leave him in the dust. Break up dude, he is a psycho for lying for such a long. Run to the hills, as they say. So in 8 years of relationship nobody mentioned his age? Not even on his birthday parties? Like family or friends? You never saw any documents of him at all? ID card, driver license, whatever? Sorry, I am the only one who getting rage bait vibes here. How do I, 26F, deal with my boyfriend's 31M political radicalization? I've been with my boyfriend for around 5 years and we have had an okay relationship with a few ups and downs, but we have leveled out to a good place in the last 2 or so years except for an alarming rabbit hole he has been drifting down. When we first got together my boyfriend told me he had no political interest, but I learned throughout the span of our 5 years together that he is more conservative oriented with a few of his views. This wasn't a deal breaker since it wasn't a huge part of our relationship and he still managed to keep it respectful even though I am more liberal leaning. The issues really started to ramp up a bit after Trump left office, and during his current political campaign my boyfriend decided he was his preferred politician. I think all politicians are shitty, but I'm a default Democrat, so this was a bit of an issue for me. Again though, it wasn't something I cared enough to push him on, and he didn't watch the news or bring it up a lot, so I let it go. In the last 2 or so months though he has begun consuming TikTok media made by creators who are serial debate lords and spend all day debating polarizing political topics with random strangers on TikTok live feeds. This has lit some spark under my BF's ass, and now he's decided that I'm a perfect target for his newly learned debate lord knowledge and has been trying to argue with me over every little political thing we disagree on. The biggest issue is that our opinions are significant other different. Listening to him talk about it is causing me real distress. His opinions were usually almost neutral and now he's been radicalized in the direction opposite my own. Our most recent heated debate, was about women's reproductive health rights, abortion basically. We were in the car together, he opened with some line about how abortions should be illegal and I rose to the bait. Now I don't really care who is right and wrong. The core of this issue is that we have two opposing views and he will not leave me alone about it. In the car he got so fired up by the fact that I refused to relent and agree with him that he started yelling about it, as if his volume would suddenly cause a moment of holy enlightenment and I'd instantly 180 on my hard-set views. I tried to end the conversation by saying he was yelling, and I was not interested in having this conversation anymore because I am unmovable on my opinion, it will not change, and thus our arguing about it isn't productive. He kept bringing up more points, then attacking my character over it. It's messed up that you think that way and so are you. You get the gist. The only way I ended the debate, was by refusing to reply to anything he said on the topic. We live together. We have 3 dogs plus 1 cat and have been planning on having a kid in the coming year. But this new political radicalization is making a lot of our conversations stressful. I don't want to have to argue about issues I won't change my mind on. I also don't think it's really reasonable to give up a 5-year relationship with a reliable man I care about just because he's being sucked into a political black hole, but I'm scared it will become unbearable and he'll turn into the annoying conservative dinner uncle no one wants to be around. Hell, if his opinions take too much of a cliff dive I won't even want to be around him either. As a side note, he is, like me, not the type to change his opinion just because I tell him I don't like it. He's stubborn. If you are politically incompatible with no common ground, you need to move on. Especially a mediocre relationship. Do not, I repeat, do not get pregnant. Do not get pregnant by this person. You will regret it for the rest of your life. Especially if anything goes wrong with your pregnancy. I don't understand how people in relationships reconcile stark political differences. Sure, some disagreement is fine, but so much of politics is based around whole moral codes. Like, if one person wants to help people fleeing war-torn countries while the other wants the Coast Guard to gun down incoming boats full of civilians, you can't really play off such a difference in morality with, oh, it's just politics. Do not have children with him. Do you want a future daughter to have him as her dad? Do you want a future son to be like him? Break up with him and figure out the pet custody. He DGAF about your safety or bodily autonomy. This is basically the purpose of the QAnon casualties sub. You can get plenty of sympathy there, but no solutions because there aren't any. If you want to stay with him, expect annoying conservative dinner uncle to be pretty much the best case scenario. If he's that rude and disrespectful to you to the point of shouting at you and attacking your character over a political opinion, I don't think this is salvageable. Why wouldn't it be reasonable to dump him over his behavior? It's not his opinions that are so much the issue as his unrelenting aggressive behavior about them. Do you really want to continue living life like this? Do I 32F have to ask my husband 37M for permission to work full-time? I, 32F, have been married to 37M for 6 months. I quit my job to work as freelance after marriage. But that was my decision and my now husband 37M did not show any problems with me working. After a few months of marriage, I couldn't make any money through freelancing and my husband was always broke, so I was just digging into my lifetime savings. I decided to go for job interviews and start working full-time. Every time I go for interview my husband's mood will go bad, but he never said anything. Him and his family are pressuring me to have a baby too. Anyways, after going to 8 job interviews I got a perfect career opportunity and decided to go forward. I spoke to him and his reply is that I didn't discuss anything and that it has to be a mutual decision if I work or not. I am trying to make him understand that he cannot tell me what to do with my career. That can only be my decision, but it just ends up in a big fight and him saying mean stuff to me. I don't have a choice of not working full-time as we have bills to pay and my savings are going to finish soon. He says that if I started working I wouldn't want a baby. Which I told him had nothing to do with me working, but he doesn't believe that. About his finances, he keeps saying that it will get sorted next week, but it's been 4 months and I don't believe it will get sorted soon. He has made my life miserable on this by either giving me a silent treatment or fighting about it. I am on verge of leaving him, but I get confused that maybe I am wrong. You don't need permission to make decisions about your life. But why have you been supporting your husband with your life savings? Why can't he go out and get a better job? It's normal in a relationship to discuss these things with one another before moving forward with it. But your husband sounds controlling and happy to leech off your savings. Leave him before you have children with him. That just gets even messier. I think I see what is happening here. Let me guess, you're supposed to be a SAHW, stay-at-home mom, and he expects you to handle all the housework and eventually childcare because he's the provider, but he doesn't actually provide for you, hence having to wipe out your savings. And now he's freaking out because you're not going to remain under his control and may not want to be a stay-at-home mom when you're working a full-time job. Or is he capable of providing but just refuses to because God forbid you have the opportunity to leave this horrible situation? I've heard this story more than a few times. Run. I really hate to be so blunt here, but please do not have a baby with this man up. He's showing you his true colors already, and it will only escalate exponentially once you're tied to him forever with a child. No one can tell you what to do with your life. He doesn't want you working because that gives you the power to get away from him. Where are your family and friends? Has he got you away from them? Also, how are things getting paid for if he isn't providing? Please get out now. Put it down to dodging a bullet and move on up. You are not wrong. Take what's left of your savings and get out of this controlling situation now before you find yourself pregnant and tied to this man and his family forever. Take the job and start planning how you will exit this marriage. Do not get pregnant. He is lying to you, financially abusing you, and creating an environment that keeps you trapped by diminishing your savings, discouraging a job, and encouraging pregnancy. Leave, as soon as you can. I don't even understand the question. Do you live in a country that has laws regarding husbands having control over their wives? If not, why would you have to ask for his permission to do anything? You are a human being, not an incubator. And he is your husband, not a king. You might want to take a hard look at your marriage, to see if you really want to spend your life with him before you get pregnant, and also keep a sharp eye on your birth control. 25M. My 23F girlfriend kissed her non-straight coworker at a work event while I was present. Like what? I was invited to my GF's work event at a local pub in the city. I don't normally go to these things with her because I'm not a huge fan of the partying lifestyle. My girlfriend works as a barista, and this work event was for all the cafe workers to have a night out and have a few drinks. They're all roughly the same age as us. As the night goes on, we end up at a nice little niche spot in the city and everyone's a little drunk at this stage. They continue drinking and I'm having a good time. They then play a few rounds of truth or dare. Dare was the only option, and start daring each other. It starts off mild and then they slowly start daring each other to do things in a sexual manner. I opted out at this stage because I'm in a relationship. My partner continues to play and I am a little annoyed because it just didn't seem right. She then gets dared to kiss her non-straight, so I've been told, and noticed, coworker. She hesitates, then says, FK it. She leans in and he holds the back of her head while she's across the table. They kiss for a matter of 5 seconds and then everyone starts laughing and they continue playing the game. I was pretty angry at this stage, but decided to do the right thing and remove myself. I whispered in my GF's ear that I'm going home, and then I gave her $50 for a taxi to get home. I arrive home at 10:30 p.m. At around 2 a.m. I hear her stumbling in and vomiting in the toilet. By this stage I've calmed down and I'm supporting her by holding her hair back and getting her all cleaned up. The next morning I ask her about it, and she says it was just all a bunch of fun and games and didn't mean anything as he's gay. This made me angry, as I personally would never kiss anyone even if I was drunk. So I don't really know how to feel about this. If she doesn't respect you while you're there, she damn sure won't when you're not present. Disrespect, cheating, gaslighting, she should have came with you. She choose her friends over you. Get out now and move on with someone that respects you. Why are you posting this on Reddit? She cheated, bro, break up with her. Not much more to say. Should I leave her and provide her with an eviction notice for 90 days or something? She lives in my home that I own. So what do you suppose she's up to when you're not around? Not much to talk about, op. You either stay or go. If you stay, then don't be shocked when more is revealed that also didn't mean anything. 3 months later, my girlfriend fucked her coworker while I was present. Like what?